get Gnome Hollow. So this game was the center of attention at Gen Con.
It definitely got the hype.
It definitely got that. Well, I mean, there was a couple, but this was definitely one of the big ones. There was a lot of advertisements for this game.
The central balloon structure was around Gnome Hollow. Matter of fact,
it was really cool, though.
It was gnomes playing Gnome Hollow inside of their...
it was really awesome. Plus, they had a little, gnome house actually on the display floor for this game.
You could actually get... Well, you couldn't, but the people that built it could get into the balloons and walk around as the gnomes, which was really neat.
Yeah, and that was really cool. I think there's some really cool things going on for this game, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about Gnome Hollow?
I can. 2024 release, obviously, it's released at Gen Con. Board Game Geek rating is 7.1, and the rank is 4413. It's 2 to 4 player game, average length of 45 to 60 minutes. Once you've played it a few times, I think that's reasonable. Age 12 and up. The base game, I really don't think you need to be 12. Sarah definitely could play this. And granted, she's getting close to 12 now. But, I think she could have played it probably at 10. I think you'd be fine at 10. Now, the other side of the board is the advanced game. I think she probably would have struggled that even today.
Heck, I think I'll struggle with that today.
Yeah, because you have to make specific shapes, and have some of them have donut holes and such. The design is by Amon Anderson, with art by Amon Anderson, along with Patrick Spaziente. Published by Levity Games and the Op Games. Now, this is the base game along with the upgrade kit. The upgrade kit, or the base game, is $49.99 MSRP. The upgrade kit is $24.99 MSRP. So they had a bundle deal at Gen Con, and you could, if you bought it there, you got $10, $15 off. I can't remember what it was, and they gave you a little free card game along with it. And they also gave you a stuffed animal of one of the gnomes. So I already pre-ordered this from our local store because it was coming out the week right after Gen Con, so there was no point in paying a premium. So I told them I was ordering it, so they went ahead and gave me the bundle deal on all the rest of it, discounting that price, and I got my usual discount from our local store, so I got the best of both worlds, which was really sweet. So the op was really cool about that. So the cheapest price online that I could find was a place called Gamers Guild. It looks like Arizona AZ. I'm assuming it's Arizona. For $42.49. I've never ordered from them, so I can't tell you how reliable they are. Noble Knight was the second cheapest for $44.95. I've not ordered from them either, but they've been around. I've heard of them. Card House and everybody else pretty much came in at $49.99 at the MSRP, which is surprising. I don't know how much discount the op allows. So
there might be some agreements made.
Mm-hmm. There were a few other ones that I'd never heard of before, as far as companies that were selling it between the $44.95 and $49.99 price, but I didn't bother to list them because I don't know if they offer free shipping. I know Card House does. So, and then the most of the wooden bits and everything you're going to see are all for part of the upgrade kit. Everything's cardboard in the base game. And the gameplay is very much like Carcassonne. If you've played Carcassonne, it's actually less confrontational than Carcassonne because you can't meander into other people's territory. You can ask their permission to close off their areas, but they have to grant you permission even to play a tile to close off their area. So there's really no, conflict in this game at all.
Yeah, okay.
You can mess with them a bit by building next to them, but you cannot intervene.
No. I was... We'll talk about that later.
All
right, let's talk about quality of components. So, okay, this is the coolest thing, guys. Okay, so I have my little things. Look at that, it's magnet. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was very excited about this. Because I think this is really awesome.
She gets excited every time she opens the refrigerator because of all the magnets on the door.
Okay.
What?
Listen. You know how many times things get knocked off the board?
Oh, I know.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Not every game does this. In fact,
No.
I haven't seen one do this yet, so this is cool.
But it's only those little...
which are the ones that would get knocked off the most.
Yeah, but it's still... The cylinders have the magnets. Everything else is just basic wood, wood or cardboard.
You're just like trying to kill my thunder over here.
No, I think it is a cool concept, but I've seen other games do magnet stuff. We saw that Western game, Coloma, where you could actually just throw the little dial on and it's stuck in place. That was really cool.
Well, I think that it's cool. It's cool.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I do love all the screen printed bits that you get with the upgraded, all the different mushrooms. This is breathtakingly beautiful. I don't know what more they could have done to really upgrade anything. I think they did a fantastic job. I honestly don't know what they could do to make this cooler.
The tiles, the cardboard does not have a linen finish. That would have been one thing they could have done. We've seen a lot of tile games. Matter of fact, the punch boards, there's a few of them that didn't punch cleanly, that had little tears and such on the cardboard. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, in general, this is really well done. And the storage tray in the box is actually really well done as far as having segments, and they have little icons at the bottom telling you where to place things. You do also get a nice burlap sack to put your tiles in, so another bag that you need. And this one has enough space where you can mix them, which is good, because we've seen a lot of games that don't. So yeah, I mean, definitely the wooden bits were the big seller for me. They had, they replaced pretty much all of the non-tile cardboard. Yeah,
this is cool. So, for me, I'm going to give this a 9. I loved it. I think for quality of components, they did an excellent job.
Yeah, given the cardboard and the tearing, I'm gonna probably give it an 8. I think if you get the base game, I probably would give it less. I'd probably go ahead and give it like a 6.5. But with the
upgraded
components, I'm going to bump it up to an 8, and it would have probably been a 9 for me if they hadn't had the cardboard be where it was not linen finished and was snagging when you punched it.
So, all right. So moving on to the theme. So you're playing a gnome. You're making little fairy circles, and when you complete a fairy circle, you collect the mushrooms around that, and then you use those to go to the market and get victory points. There's some other ways to get some victory points about collecting different potted plants, and also making sure you complete enough rings. And you'll get that. You get bonuses for completing certain size of rings. It's beautiful. I love the theme. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I like the fact that you're collecting mushrooms. You're making little fairy rings with these paths, and I don't know, it's cute.
It's a very family-friendly game.
Very family-friendly. I really enjoy it. They did a great job on the artwork. I think it was a lot of fun. The gnomes on your little worker pieces are cute. They've done really, really well for this. I'm probably going to give this a 9 as well. I really like the theme. I'm sold. So on the theme.
Yeah, I'll probably, given, I like the rings and the fact that, they're taking that into consideration. I mean, the gameplay, it could be anything, but it's not real intrinsic to the gameplay. But it's a fun theme. It definitely draws you in. And in the rulebook, there's some sections where they give you some, text that looks like it's kind of story, but it's kind of written, almost on... school paper with the lines and such, giving you background on the gnomes. I thought that was clever, and it was nice to have that in there to kind of break up the monotony of reading the rules. Yeah, I'm probably a 9 on this for theme as well.
All right, so moving on to the actual rule book, you mentioned how you like some of the little tidbits. What else? What else about the
rule book? Is about 20 pages. The numbers weren't on the back. It's got a nice little cover. It says a field guide. It doesn't look like the box, but it's really nice cover. Goes into table of contents on it. You don't see table of contents in a lot of them. Then a little bit of story blurb about the gnomes and how they live. So this is where they have the line paper I was talking about, where they talk about the story of the gnomes, and it carries throughout the book. They've got several pages that have like sections of it. The contents components are nicely done in here. Unfortunately, because I didn't know which pieces were upgraded and which weren't, I ended up throwing out one of the tiles, the sunset tile, which is actually needed in the game, but it's not critical.
Shame.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with myself on that one. Then it's got the setup, which tells you how to set up the arrangement of the board, setting up the market. They actually have a variant rule where you can play with a more advanced market, which that you can play with that. And they also have the advanced game where you can flip over the boards. And then they have an introduction to each of the gnomes. Each color has its own name, and it has a little backstory for each color.
Cool.
Then you have your gameplay overview, which is actually shorthanded on this little cheat sheet that's really handy. It has the iconography on it and everything else, which is done really well. Really the only problem we had with the gameplay was with the garden tiles, because it doesn't do a lot of clarity in the book about how those work, because they're wild, they can touch anything, but you're not allowed to meander or join into other players' tiles. So, it's not clear since it's a complete kind of hexagon and it acts as a wild on all sides, can two people use that same tile? And
there was an example of the book where two people used.
Well, they didn't show the gnomes on it. It just showed the two groups.
So it can be used.
But it could be the same player had those. So you can't really tell. That's the problem.
My thing is, as long as it's not a dead end. Like, I feel like as long as you're completing a circle, it has to be its own unique circle, not something that someone already did. It should have been in the rules to clarify that. It should have been, but that's what made sense.
Yeah, that was the only problem we had with the rules. Other than that, it was very clear how to play the game and how to sell things.
I think Randy's trying to make it too complicated on the wild tiles.
I like when I'm playing a game not to have questions that I have to go online to try to research, or answer.
I get
make
that.
House rules. They also have a little thing about the names of all the mushrooms and the flowers. The flowers were the part that bothered me the most, I think. They don't really serve much purpose other than to give you the tile, and a set collection, but the value of them is all over the place. Normally you see like a trending pattern, like there's a peak where it goes to the top and then maybe, plateaus, and then you see there's like an optimal point that you want to gather to, and then after that it's kind of just bonus. But in this case, it was like it would go up by 4 and then go down to 2, and it was like all over the place. So you couldn't really get a good feel for where is this peak at, because it just kind of jumped around with the value of the tiles.
I think you should just get them.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the triggers of the end game potentially if you fill all of them. But yeah, it's much more likely you're going to make rings and that will end the game, or run out of tiles, which are the two other scenarios.
Yeah.
So, all of the rulebook is actually really well done, and I will probably go ahead and give this I'll probably give it an 8.5. I probably would have gone up to 9 if they had clarified those garden tiles.
All right, so let's talk about the game. So, you basically, during your turn, you're going to take 2 tiles, so in this example,
there normally be 8 tiles out on the board.
And this one. I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet. So then you got these paths going on. So you want to make sure you're completing those paths, but a path cannot go into a dead end. All right, so I'm going to place 2. I'm going to place 2 tiles. So you can place any tiles anywhere, adjacently to your board.
As long as it's not in someone else's where they have a gnome on that path.
Correct. And so then you're going to move one of your gnomes. Now you have a couple of options for where you can take your gnomes. You can put your gnome on you have to move your gnome, so be aware. So you can move your gnome onto a path. You then control that path. So you have to get approval for another one to come in. If you do that, and then when it completes, you will get that scoring for it. Or you can move a gnome to the selling, so you have access to the market with the mushrooms that you have collected after completing the rings. Or you can go up there and actually pick one of the flowers at the market. Now, the thing is you have to move. So, like, I tried to build 2 circles at the same time, and that always failed me because I ended up having to move my thing, and then you would be right there ready to grab a hold of that. Which really freaking annoyed me by like a crap ton.
So you know, if you start a path and you abandon that path, someone else can pick it back up and go there and add tiles to it. Just because you played the tiles doesn't make it yours.
Right, which is kind of which I was fine with, except it was just so tight. Like, you pretty much had to maintain ownership, otherwise you were going to lose it. And so I would definitely play a little bit differently in the fact that I would not be trying to do 2 at a time. I wouldn't care. And I would use my other one to like pick flowers or do some other stuff that we didn't end up seeing. Okay, so once you complete a circle, so say if we did do that, let me see. So if I complete a ring, let's see, we'll do this. Okay, I've decided to make the longest ring possible. I didn't mean to do that, guys. All right.
Normally, you only get to draw 2. You don't get to take all of the tiles off the board.
I'm just trying to. I've finished a different one that I didn't mean to finish. All right, so if I can finish the ring.
You just destroyed the whole world.
I did. When you finish a ring. All right, you're going to go through and you're going to count how many of the different mushrooms. So, like, right now I got 3 yellows and a red. So, Randy's going to hand me 3 yellows.
Well, first you're going to count how many tiles you went through.
1, 2, 3, 4. Is it?
It's going to count. You don't count the same tile twice, but you count. So, you went through 5 tiles total.
Right.
So, you're going to remove the next one of the cylinders from your board.
And I'm going to place it on one of the 5 spot and choose what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a flower because I don't have, they kicked my butt. So I will take an orange flower, please.
I can't reach it from here, but
all right, I'll steal it from him.
Adam doesn't need his. Yeah, he's gone. He abandoned them. He abandoned them, just like in the game.
So. All right, and so that is the action. Now the market's pretty simple. If I were to go to the market,
you would also, like you said, you get 3 yellows to go into your collection because there were 3 yellow mushrooms
and a red.
And there was a red. Okay.
Okay. So then I'm going to go to the market. Now, there's only certain availability. So when you sell, there's less options, right? So by the fact is like for the blue, I can only sell 3, 4, and 7, and 2's indefinite. But so I'm going to count. So right now, like I have 8 yellow. The max I can sell is 7, but I'm going to do that. And I get to sell 2 different colors. So I will sell yellow and then probably blue. And then we will place the tiles over the things I've taken. And then they don't have that. So obviously the higher ones have higher victory points. So the sooner you get that done.
And your denominations, they put like little clever items like keys and just little random items that are shiny like crystal, feathers. They've got bottle caps and they got buttons. You know, just things that...
I gotta water my bonsai tree. All right.
So they got little feathers and buttons and bottle caps. So just things that gnomes might find valuable. You know?
Yeah, it was really cool in that front. So I actually really liked this game. I was annoyed with you for most of the game. But I actually loved the game. I loved the kind of the puzzle aspect. I definitely would play it a little bit differently next go around, but I want to show my mom this. I think she would I think my family would actually really enjoy this. So I definitely want to keep this one up here. I liked it a lot. I'm going to give this an 8 to 8.5. All right. I know what it is. I really loved it. It was kind of puzzly. There's some stuff to do. There's some competition. I may not necessarily like you playing with me, but the game itself I like.
I think that I might like it better on the advanced setting. To me, this was a little too basic. if I'm weighing this in, I'd say this is definitely a light game. I would not grade it much higher than probably your second game. I wouldn't start like this. Wouldn't be the first game I would introduce. But if you've played Carcassonne and you want something a little different, this might be the second game I would play after Carcassonne. It's probably that level.
Well, I mean, it's not meant to be a hard game, right?
Well,
We're talking about the op here. Come on now.
I understand. It's for the op. This is a huge advancement, and I appreciate that. The other thing is the scoring, being that it's so limited, is another thing.
What do you mean? You have 3 different ways.
You have 3 different ways to score. You get flowers and whatever your track is for, and how many rings you've made, which is the cylinders that are on there. And then you've got how much you've sold as far as your bits, and that you've sold for these valuable trinkets that the gnomes would like. So those are the 3 ways. If these things you collect don't have any value at the end of the game, if you don't sell them, they're just worthless. So it's if you like market games, this is a light market game. If you like tile placement games, this is a light tile placement game. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the kind of game that I enjoy the most. I actually prefer Carcassonne to this.
I don't. I prefer this over Carcassonne.
So I'm probably going to give this, I'll give it a 7.5 with the thought that advanced mode is probably going to please me a little more.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm like, I don't need the advanced mode thing. I think I like it because it's light, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not, for me, it's I can just place some tiles and do a thing, but I get some enjoyment out of it. I'm not sitting it's not a brain burner. With me going back to work, those brain burners they're burning my brain a little bit more because I'm burning my brain during the week. So maybe I'm enjoying a little bit lighter games because my work's so mentally demanding. So maybe there's a little caveat to that.
Well, whereas I need some stimulation because I'm still in the job search mode.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast today. Well, I did. I don't know about Randy, but please come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.